So today we are going to be talking about the snowflakes at Disneyland. So every year at Disneyland, during the holiday season, they have a holiday parade and they have snowflakes on roller skates. I feel like they used to be on quad skates, and then at some point over the past decade, they switched to inline skates. But I get the question all the time, can I learn from you if I am on inlines? And the answer is yes. I've actually taught a lot of these skaters who do the parade, and one that is still doing the parade. I went yesterday to film this and I was so happy to see that she's still doing it, and she did a really great job. So I'm very proud of you, Shelby. I'm gonna go through and talk about what they do, and if you ever want to audition for this, now you have kind of a roadmap of what you need to learn. So it's fairly simple, which makes sense because it's a parade. Like, we don't want any catastrophes during the parade. Forward skating, it's backward skating, it's outer edges, it's inner edges, it's rotating to the left, it's rotating to the right. Pretty simple. So when they start, it's a lot of skating and stopping because there are other floats in front of you and behind you. So you have to know how to stop really well. I'm sure they have about 3 sequences that they have to learn. The one that I filmed based on where I was on Main Street when they came by me, that is the one I'm gonna go through. I filmed the skater that was in front. Using her toe stop, she pushes off and stops. By the way, you can learn all of this stuff within the membership here on YouTube or with the membership on thatNicoleFiore.com, on inlines or on quads. But when you stop, you have to bend both knees so that it's nothing super sudden and you're not losing your balance this way or this way. So you have to tighten your core, bend both knees. She does this at an angle to make this like a cute pose, which is very smart. And then they have choreography where they lift their knees up and down and they kind of walk. It's so cute. It's a lot of arm moves. It's a lot of presenting, because there's people everywhere sitting, there's people standing, so many people watching this parade. So they have to present everywhere. They really do make good eye contact with everyone sitting, which it's a lot of kids. It's a lot of parents sitting with their kids while their kids are stoked to be there. So they're looking down here. Even when they're looking down, they're presenting up. So they're looking down, but they're presenting up here. Hello, hello. So it's a lot of arm movements. But then after they do this one beautiful arm movement, they have a stepping piece of choreography. Now, whenever you're on one foot, obviously your wheels like to roll. So you, again, have to engage your core, make sure your knee is over that skate to then lift the other knee, lift the other knee. They do a few little steps and then they do a few big steps where they hold depending on the beat. Then we have a spin. So the same as on quad skates, it's your inside edges. So whenever you're doing a 2-foot spin, you're pressing to the inside edge, inner back edge, as well as an inner forward edge to rotate. They had good skaters this year. 2020 did them good. The first rotation in this sequence is to their left. One rotation, directly from the rotation, they skate backward. So backward, when you're skating, you can do outer edges or you can do inner edges. They do a little bit of both because at the very end of it, they switch to an inner edge. So they start on an outer back edge with their leading leg, and then they switch to an inner, outer, inner. So they kind of come up creating a wave as they go back. Then they stop using their toe stop and they push off again. They immediately put their foot down to do an arm movement. Then we have a rotation to the right. The thing about skaters and dancers usually rotate to their right. Skaters usually rotate to our left. So I know that they have a mix of skaters and dancers doing this parade. So I'm glad that they actually had them do both ways, because then at least someone is comfortable. After they rotate to the right, they go into a precision move. So in this, they're not touching hands. Usually in precision, you would grab on to each other so that you don't travel. But since they're only rotating one time around, they just put their hands in and they do a circle. So when they're doing this, they're rotating to their right on the first one. They do it again, rotating to the left. But when you do this, you're basically doing like scooter pushes, but without lifting this leg. So you're on an outside edge on the main leg. So if I'm traveling to my right, that's my right leg. I'm on an outside edge. My left foot is pushing, but not lifting off the ground. And that actually does give me a lot of speed. Like I can gain a ton of speed. They don't want this much speed in the parade. Now out of this precision move, this starburst or pinwheel, not really sure what you would even call it, but out of this circle of 3 skaters, they come out and they make a figure 8, which means you create an 8 with your pattern on the floor. Then they get into a circle, all of the skaters. So they get into a circle from their figure 8. Now they're rotating around to the left. This is really impressive simply because when you're skating, some skaters have more speed, some skaters don't have as much speed, so it's hard to keep an equal distance from each other, but they did. They changed their arm on the next half, and then they split up, stopping with their right toe stop. So they're on their left leg, stopping with their right toe stop. And then they grab a partner, and they spin around with the partner. Then they got into a line. Now this skater in back, I could tell was a little like, ooh, I feel like the float behind me is going to hit me. So she looked over her left shoulder and they're supposed to push off with their toe stop. She went here, looked here, pushed off really fast and then had to slow down really quickly because that float coming behind them was a little too close to them. They needed to actually push their routine a little further during that period because if they had waited like 2 more seconds, they would have been hit. There's a lot going on in this. And like growing up, I am used to obviously like skating routines that are very complex. And when you skate, there are options to skate solo, team dance, precision team. There's options to skate with a whole bunch of people at one time. And that is, I think, the hardest thing because it's always a little unpredictable. So parades, especially in front of thousands of people visiting Disneyland, and it could be like the best day of their entire life. You don't want to be the person to They are wearing like knee pads. They have a helmet on. I don't know about wrist guards, maybe under their gloves. But it is such a cute and special thing. And I always look forward to it because I wonder if I'm going to know anyone in the parade. And it has been really fun to teach a lot of the snowflakes, a lot of the skaters who are skating as the snowflakes in the parade. So I know that it is an audition process. If you want to audition next year, they used to have quads. Maybe now it is a real thing where it's only inline. It actually makes sense because those wheels go over the cracks better. Maybe they had some issues. I don't know. If you have any backstage information, please let me know. But yeah, those are the snowflakes. So if you make your way to Disneyland, I hope you get to enjoy them.
I'm going to tell them about how you led the line in the wrong direction. You should have.
My mom just reminded me, when I skated precision team, it wasn't even precision team that year. It was a group number at Gold Skate, and I had to lead. I was like 11, and I think it was because I was the shortest one. I had to lead the line, which is a really bad idea to have a kid lead a line because I was very nervous and somehow turned myself around, and I led the line the wrong way. In our entire routine, that was at the beginning of the routine. We started in a circle and then I had to take off and lead everyone. And I led them the wrong way and they followed because that's what they're supposed to do. And our entire routine was backward. Luckily, we made it to finals, and super luckily, we had a fighting scene. It was like with swords, and that was supposed to be at the front of the rink. But since it was Gold Skate, they had a curtain in the back and they had it lit up. So the fighting scene ended up in the back because it was all flipped, but it looked really, really cool because their shadows were on the curtain. So it looked like this whole production thing. So yeah, sorry, Chris, I messed that one up, but I think we won that year. And I think we were even in first going into finals because I don't know, I was secretly a choreographer even back then.
I was so upset because you flipped it the wrong
Oh,
way.
I was like, I'm done. I quit.
And you thought Chris was going to kill you.
I did.
But they all followed stuff.
Wow. Trauma.